My dear students, so far we have discussed to interview the people who are overly talkative, to interview the people who are shy, excessively shy, or nervous. But there are some people who are called as the dominant applicants. Sometimes an applicant will try to gain control of the interview, usually to cover up for the lack of sufficient job experience. So if they don't have a sufficient job experience, then they try to occupy the whole situation. So the attempted takeover may manifest itself in a variety of ways. So, for instance, by steering the conversation to discussion of the interviewer's career or hobbies or discussing books or plants in the office. So, such kind of things which are not much relevant to the job, they are just trying to give information which they have. Remind yourself that you are the control of the whole, the charge of the whole interview, and assertively say to the applicant, "Excuse me, but we seem to have drifted. Let's go back to the interview. Let's go back to some job specific question." So you need to be blunt. You need to say it in an appropriate way that how we can talk about some of the job specific questions. My dear students, there are another category of the interviewees or applicants which are highly emotional applicants. Have you ever had an applicant begin to cry during an interview? It happens sometimes that applicants start crying during an interview. In such kind of situation, what you need to do? If this ever happen, extend your empathy rather than sympathy. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. I am sure that you know as a student of a business management. This approach will allow you to remain objective, in charge, and better able to help the individual regain the composure. Resist patting the person on the back or asking her to elaborate on whatever it was that set her off. In all likelihood, you will get an earful of personal information to which you have no right. So, better to motivate the person and ask him her to answer the question. Applicants become emotional, particularly when you challenge an answer to a particular question. If you are saying, "No, no, this is not an answer of your question, you are telling us a wrong story," so the person can be emotional. But these kind of people are not too much. If this happen, change direction of your question, and return to the question which you have asked earlier later in the interview. Don't touch that question on that particular moment when the person is showing emotions. So ask that question later on and try to ask some other soft questions. Perhaps after a better rapport has been established, emphasize to the applicant that information is important for continued consideration. If you want to consider, if we want to consider you as a potential applicant, we need to ask this question and you need to answer that question. So you have to emphasize, you have to re-emphasize the importance of the question in which he or she show the emotions. So this message is usually sufficient encouragement for even the most reluctant applicant, and that encouragement really helps you to draw the attention of the candidate towards more meaningful, towards more objective questions, and that objectivity really helps you to select the candidates in the best possible way.